Hello. Cheers. Just before I start this video, I wanted to thank a friend of mine called John. How kind some people are. My book, this is Sunday while I'm making this, 12:39. My book became available at 12 noon on Etsy and eBay. First person to order or to buy 3 copies was my mate John, who then followed up with a phone call to say, I've just bought and paid for 3 copies, I only need 2. Please give 1 copy to somebody who deserves it. Thank you, John. How lovely is that? How lovely. So I've got 2 or 3 people in mind anyway. I'm going to give, there's 6 in total that are going for nothing to certain people for certain reasons, you know, and some people are struggling out there. And got a lovely message just saying I would love, dearly love a copy of your book, maybe later in the year when I can afford it. How lovely, you know. So thank you very much, John. It really is appreciated. Okay, so this, we're doing another My Thoughts, if you haven't guessed. This is from SX, that's his name. Capital S, little x, SX. Maybe he's from Essex, just work that one out. He says, Brian, another of your thoughts, please. Should we go with our gut instinct or our head or heart when making decisions? Should we go with our gut instinct or our head or our heart when making decisions? Any decision is a process of elimination as far as I'm concerned. And therefore, I think it's a combination of all 3. If you take what John did just a minute ago, he clearly went with his heart, and that was the right thing to do. He felt that he wanted to help somebody. Just because it's nice. It's just nice to be able to do that. Just nice to be able to help somebody. So he's went with his heart. He had the thought, and he went with his heart. When you make a decision, a proper decision, I think the heart is often wrong. If it's a deep rooted sort of decision, a life-changing decision, you know, if it's a big decision, the heart can be wrong so many times. I would always say don't let your heart rule your head. If it's a minor decision, like John's decision isn't a life-changing decision, but it's a nice, kind gesture, then the heart can rule anything. That's absolutely fine. But don't let your heart rule your head, because often we do that and we live to regret it. We don't do it the other way around. When we've really done some proper thinking, pondering, cogitating, wondering, planning, you know, so doing lists, whatever, do it all with your head, because the head is right. Not to say that we should ignore our instincts, because they often say your instincts are often right, and they are often right, but they're often wrong. And people don't say that. They don't say, oh, your instincts are 50% right, 50% wrong. I've had, in the past, I've had an employer and a work colleague, both who I first met, for whatever reason, I didn't like at all. Really didn't like, and that was an instinctual thing. I just didn't like them, you know. And I thought after a week or 2, what's the problem, you know? I thought, I don't know, I just don't like them. My instinct again, instinctually I do not like these people, and I don't know why. My boss ended up being a really, really lovely boss, no problem whatsoever. And the person that I didn't particularly like at first actually became a really good friend. Really good friend. Once you step over that, the instincts, your initial reactions to something, because your initial reactions come from all different places, and we call it instinct, but I don't think instinct exists. Instinct, what is instinct? It's learned behaviour. It's pros and cons, weighing them up. It's looking at what you've been right about and wrong about in the past. And it's a bit of a non-thought, isn't it really? Instinct, you just go on your initial reaction to something. But if you're going to apply a reactional sort of view on something that is an important decision, that can't be any good. It just can't be any good, you know, because where is it coming from? It's just an instinct. It's just a feeling in the back of your mind somewhere. And if you're talking about a life decision or a big decision in life, can you really go on just that alone? Certainly not. Can you go on how your heart feels, how you feel deeply inside? Certainly not. Not if it's a big decision. So SX, yeah, process of elimination, I said, didn't I? Should we go with our gut instinct or head or heart when making decisions? It all depends what decisions, to be quite honest, because you can go with all three at times in your life, can't you, really? You know, to do something nice and kind and whatever, you can go with your heart. Instinctively, you might not. Well, instinctively, you know that you're not going to enjoy this fairground ride because you've done it in the past, you know, and that's learned behaviour, really. So I don't think instinct is a thing, not really. So I would always say go with your head. Go with your head, because if something is well thought out and decided in your head, the heart, the instinct, doesn't matter. You know, you're going to live with that decision. Your heart's not going to live with it. Your instinct isn't going to say, oh, well, got it right, got it wrong, whatever. You know, your head must be the priority. You must really think it out. But, you know, as I say, you don't ignore, or you shouldn't really ignore your instinct, your heart, whatever thoughts and feelings and stuff like that. Bring it all in. That's what I would say, particularly if it is a big decision. Smaller decisions can be decided all different sort of ways, but I think big decisions really need to be well thought out, you know. And as I say, if you sit and ponder that problem or that decision that you've got to make, or whatever it may be, if you really sit and think it through, then you'll come up with decent answers. I'm a big list writer because I don't have somebody to bat against, you know. And I write lists, and they can be pros and cons and things like that. And when I finish my list, I'm sure that in my list there are some things from the heart, some instinctual things in there, and a lot of my deep thoughts and thinking and you know, cogitating and stuff like that. So how I make a big decision, because I don't have people to bat it off, I spend some time really thinking it through, quiet time, really thinking it through. And the answers come to you in lots of different ways, really. And just to finalise and to settle things, to write a list is a good idea, really, because you can forget things as you're thinking. You can forget something that you've thought, you know. But a well thought out process leads to the right decision, in my view. Just my thoughts. Take care. Thank you. Be well.